Right. So let's speak about the water system and how water actually affects us and how it interacts with our energetic field, how it interacts with our consciousness, how it interacts with everything in relation to our atom system, our body system. So in the so this was last year. Last year when I was going into the body activations in terms of the process of dieting and the process of cleansing, I came across the consciousness of water for the process of actually uplifting or shifting the consciousness into a higher frequency evolution. So I found certain things, for example, like molecular hydrogen water, which is extremely important, which I learned also through fluid mechanics when I was doing engineering. Uh, the whole thing with the water, the piping system, the angles, right? The 90-degree angles. Water doesn't naturally flow in a 90-degree angle straight line. It always flows over rocks. It always has this like eddy, what they call it, eddy currents, which allows for like aeration of water, so the water gets oxygen in it. You got water in the pipes, you getting less oxygen in the water. The water turns from what is supposed to be a H3O2 into an what they call H2O. So, and it's just from what I understand so far about it, right? Because the knowledge in itself is very expansive. Even scientists now starting to realize how important and how much information water actually holds. They show you water holds gigabytes of information at a time, like megabytes, gigabytes. It's, for example, you put your finger in water, the water actually records and retains that information of your genetic imprint, your code into the water. So you imagine people going into the sea, the water actually interacts with your energetic code and it records your system. You put your hand on a water bottle and you speak positive affirmations into the water. Dr. Emoto actually showed this. The water structure, when they actually froze the water structure, the water molecule system actually changed to very complex geometric patterns. When you speak negative words into the water, it actually created a distortion in the field, a distortion in the patterns of the molecular structure of the water. So, and we're made up of water, majority water. We are in a water system. We are on a water planet, essentially. Like, if you had to take the water out of the air, we would not be able to breathe. So we essentially breathe underwater. You're essentially in water. So when you send out your thought vibrations into the water molecules, it's actually recording the system. So it's like a computer system essentially existing in a water chamber, a vault, a womb. We're in a womb. So energetically right now, what's going on is that the vault is being opened right now. The vault has been opening in the last couple of years, back in 2017, from 2012 especially. A lot of the awakening process happened back then, for sure. And right now, the energy waves, the energy cycles are actually increasing a lot more. We're actually witnessing an increase in our telepathic abilities, and all of this is again connected to water systems, water communication. I think I was watching a documentary. I can't remember if it was maybe David Wilcock. Anyway, there was a documentary on the whole thing with how the sun is actually even emitting certain water particles or molecules, right, that has DNA, genetic information or DNA information coming through space. you look at the whole connection with the mycelium and how the mycelium actually has they actually interact with water systems as well, but they also kind of like move through the earth in a network system. There is also, I remember when I was watching Star Trek, I think it's Star Trek Discovery, where they actually, so spoiler alert, where they actually go through the whole thing with actually discovering that there is a mycelium network within space that interacts with each other, right? So the system in itself is a neural net, a brain in the universal system. Same thing with the mycelium network in connection and relation to the Earth as a network system, as a computer system essentially, right? So it's interesting how the matrix system actually interacts, and it gives us the correlations of the mind system, the spiritual mind system, and it always has a correlation into the physical system. So wind just doesn't, you know, we everything there are no coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. Energy moves all the time. So you see the wind picks up in certain instances. I've noticed like the wind would pick up in certain confirmation of certain things that I may be speaking on, or I may say, or I may ask a question to my consciousness, because how I see the reality, at least at this stage now, is I personally recognize my reality around me as a reflection of my inner world. So if I wanted to change my um, external reality, I would go about changing inside of myself first. And you literally see things changing on the outside. Sometimes it's be freaky, man. Like, but especially in these times, it's basically almost instant. The changes that we actually are able, if we allow that awareness to come through, to be able to witness such changes in our reality. And again, this links back to the water system. Do our consciousness communicates with so many things in the atmosphere system that, man, it's amazing. It's really amazing for real. Just to observe it and actually witness such changes within the system, within our awareness. So many things are changing, and yeah, right. So many things are changing. The winds of change is here in so many ways. Depending on your perspective, we have the solar winds, we get in the cosmic winds, the cosmic rays, we get in a lot of blowback coming up from the earth, from the grounds, right? The atmosphere is charged with energy, more cellular communication, more interactions with our higher selves, more interactions with our bodies. The more we tune into that, everybody's journey is different. When you really look at it, it's essentially one. There would be some similarities, but all of us have a different genetic code. All of us have a different DNA strand system, or what do you call it, a silicate matrix, or a soul matrix. So we have different connections to different planetary systems, different dimensional set systems, and yeah, so we're gonna experience, you may notice certain similarities in what some people you may come across people that have certain similarities and experiences that they may have gone through. But again, we all have different skill sets. It makes I've had to learn along my journey that it makes no sense trying to copy another person's journey or experience. You could utilize certain things from observing their blueprint, their their activation, manifestation, certain experiences. So, but never really hold on to want to having that particular experience, that same exact experience that they may have. Is All of us are extremely unique in that way, of actually. All right, so this is my nephew here. He just come up. He said he wants to be on YouTube a little bit. All right, so he that was him. Yeah. So yeah, children. He reminds me so much of me when I was younger, and yeah, and so much interactions with children have opened up a lot more. A lot more of my energy, my energetic systems, and allowed me to actually, yeah, clear so much things from past frames of reference, and actually interacting with him, especially too, as a reflection of myself, right? So certain things like that where we're actually able to do in our recognize in recognizing that everything in itself, for the most part, is a reflection of our inner space. If you choose to see it in that way, things will actually change because the perception, the perspective has changed. So yeah, I just wanted to speak on that, the water system. So it's also important to drink a lot of water. If you can get certain water. I know for the molecular hydrogen, there are these ceramic balls that some people use for molecular hydrogen. I think certain filter systems actually have those. I at one point used to use mega hydrate. So let me go and hold on. All right. So so these are so I'm not marketing anything, but I just showing you what I use over like the period of last year and part of this year as well. So I use this, right? So this is Krystal Energy, the secret of longevity. So this actually softens the water. I think it changes the friction angle of the water, which makes the water softer. Okay, so it's easier to absorb into your body. And then this one here, mega hydrate, this changes I think it adds, this one adds the extra hydrogen to the water, which turns it into H3O2. H3O2, yeah. So from my research, then the water would be something called easy water, which is, I think, I may be mistaken, but I think it's exclusion zone water. So yeah, so it's like a water. Yeah, essentially, the water is able to absorb more into your molecular structure, your cells, which then increases the potency of the communication between your cells, between your mind body system, the connection that you would have with your atmosphere system. I notice like meditations be off the chain when they actually use it. But in general, like if you're taking in good, clean water, especially structured, the more the water is structured in terms of like spring water, uh, anything like that, like the more natural it is, the source you could get it, the better it would be because it's structured. You can also do some research on structured water as well. So I see some people create little systems where like they run the water through like a pipe, and they got like all these different like marbles, because the idea is that you want the water to actually run over like like spherical surfaces or even like rocks. That in itself allows the water to do something like this instead of like 90-degree angles, right? The idea is that you want the water to be meandering, naturally flowing like a river. So the water. So yeah, it's definitely important in terms of our activation, activating our system, keeping the body functioning to a certain level. It helps detox the system. And again, with that, because a part of the whole thing with the exclusion zone, now I think, again, that's what you call it. I think that's what you call it. I can make corrections in the description, but it kind of creates like a energetic buffer around your auric field, because it happens to the cells as well. So the cells have a mucous membrane that is around them of the same water. So when your body takes in the water, it has the cells are actually able to get that additional water around it, so it is able to absorb certain minerals and also eject toxins. So we also have that as well, because we're a cell. We're essentially a cell. So that's why you hear myself, right? CELF. And and it creates that zone around you too, so you're able to then absorb and pull light particles from the sun, from the environment. You're also able to remove certain toxins from your system, from your energetic system. You're able to, so I'll just leave it at that. I'll definitely talk more about it though, because I've been writing a lot of notes on molecular hydrogen, on the water system, even certain things but that's why like the same towers you see now too would actually have such certain effects. If you actually add in the effects of certain frequencies on water, you would see why the towers would have a certain effect. You would see why the certain things like smart meters and stuff would have a certain effect. I know in Kemet or Egypt, there is research about jet pillars, where they would use jet pillars to actually create wireless electricity, essentially, right? So that's what this symbol actually is, a jet pillar. But this in itself is this is made from brass, but it also contains something called nanospherical quartz sand. So the nanospherical quartz sand actually produces photons, right? So it actually helps with the biophotonic energy within the system, which actually would allow for the DNA. So when the DNA actually is exposed to certain frequencies, it kind of tends to close off. Not everybody is affected by it, depending on how strong your system is, depending on your connection to your other aspects of consciousness. That is rendered inert, essentially. So 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 if you look at the jet pillar then kind of brings a force or energy up into these cycling systems here, and it like emits. So it's the same thing that we have, which I think is called phase conjugation, which is how we're actually able to change the weather patterns and stuff like that with our thoughts, with our mind, with our energy. Dan Winter would have talked about that a bit. So yeah, water. So definitely check out the water, molecular hydrogen water. Always remember to take in ample amounts of clean water. It will help with the ascension processes and the shifts that are going through. When the system is going through certain upgrades, the water helps to get the process going a lot smoother. I find these days I'm feeling more dehydrated and needing more water than usual. But yeah, the more water you drink, you're gonna notice a change, especially in your brain, because your brain needs the water as well. So yeah, so I would say to pay attention to that. And yeah, H3O2 wholeness.